can't outrun the emptiness.
We can't do this.
The Marvel Phase 5 promised greatness, but what we actually got was a roller coaster of hits and total misses.
This is your chance. The chance to earn that look in your daughter's eyes. To become the hero that she already thinks you are.
Phase 5 has been chaos, box office bombs, divided fans, and surprise gem. From Ant-Man to Deadpool, I'm ranking every Marvel movie so far, and trust me, you'll want to hear this. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
I can get you hope. And give you more time. If you help me.
And here's where it gets even stranger. The movie that was supposed to kick off Phase 5 ended up feeling like one of Marvel's weakest openers. This film was hyped like crazy. Kang the Conqueror was finally stepping into the spotlight. He was teased as the next big bad, Marvel's new Thanos-level villain. But then Ant-Man beat him with a bunch of ants. Seriously, what was supposed to be terrifying became laughable. The stakes completely gone. Now, I'll give it credit, Paul Rudd still has that charm. He's funny, he's lovable, and the Ant-Man character works best in small, grounded, quirky story. But this movie went so far into sci-fi weirdness that it lost the heart of what made Ant-Man great. Instead of a family comedy heist, we got endless green screens, floating heads, and strange CGI creatures that didn't matter. Remember Bill Murray's cameo? Hyped up in trailers, but wasted in the actual story. Janet Van Dyne's secret past with him felt forced, like filler instead of genuine character building. And the Quantum Realm, instead of being mysterious and scary, looked like a discount Star Wars planet. Audiences were expecting Marvel's next big setup, but the payoff just wasn't there. Even Jonathan Majors as Kang, who acted his heart out, couldn't escape how badly written the character was. This was supposed to make him unstoppable, but losing to ants, it killed the entire illusion of danger. So yeah, despite Ant-Man's humor, this one ends up as one of Marvel's most forgettable films. And that's saying something. This movie gotta have to go to D tier. But wait, if you think Quantumania was bad, Marvel's next big swing actually bombed even harder at the box office. The Marvels.
Carol Danvers, prodigal child of the Milky Way.
Nick Fury, my favorite one-eyed man of intrigue.
How goes it out there?
You know, cold, no air, space.
This part blew my mind. The Marvels officially became the lowest grossing MCU film ever. $200 million budget, but it barely scraped $80 million in the US. That's brutal. And yet creatively, it wasn't a total disaster. The movie actually had some fun moments, especially when the three leads shared the screen. Kamala Khan, Monica Rambeau, and Carol Danvers teaming up, that chemistry was the heart of this movie. In fact, Kamala Khan, played by Iman Vellani, absolutely stole the show. Every scene she was in, she brought the energy fans wanted. But here's the problem, the whole movie felt rushed. Instead of a full blockbuster, it played more like a Disney Plus special. The villain, Dar-Ben, completely forgettable. She had no depth, no weight, and no real threat. And Nick Fury, one of Marvel's most iconic characters, was reduced to comic relief. That's wild. Now let's talk about that musical planet scene. Half the audience loved the creativity, the other half cringed. It was bold, sure, but tonal. It felt so out of place. Like the MCU was trying to be a TikTok musical instead of a superhero film. What did work though were the fight scenes. The switching powers gimmick gave us some creative choreography, and the family dynamic between Kamala and her parents gave the story warmth. Still, this wasn't the Marvel comeback people were waiting for. Box office aside, it just didn't feel like a must-watch event film. If anything, it worked better as a side story, a fun team-up episode in the Marvel Disney Plus universe. So where does that leave it? Not terrible, not great. Squarely in the middle, a C-tier Marvel movie, and trust me, the next one completely flipped the script. Marvel finally reminded us what they're capable of. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Into the forever and beautiful sky.
James Gunn's farewell to the Guardians wasn't just another superhero film, it was a heartfelt goodbye that left fans crying, laughing, and cheering all at once. volume. 3 stands tall as one of Marvel's best because it delivered the rare balance of emotional storytelling and blockbuster entertainment. And at the core of this movie was Rocket Raccoon's heartbreaking backstory. For the first time, audiences saw the painful truth of his creation, the animal experiments, the suffering, and the fleeting hope of friendship among his fellow test subjects shocked viewers with their rawness. Marvel often shies away from true cruelty, but this time, Gunn didn't hold back. It was disturbing but necessary to make Rocket's survival and triumph mean something. His pain gave weight to the Guardians' journey and reminded fans why these characters are more than just space misfits, they're family. The villain, the High Evolutionary, was a masterstroke. Cruel, obsessed, and utterly irredeemable, he wasn't designed to be sympathetic, and that's what made him memorable. Every scene with him radiated tension because his actions weren't just, they were deeply personal to Rocket's arc. Unlike many forgettable Marvel antagonists, he tied the story together perfectly, making the final battle not just about defeating another world-ending threat, but about confronting the embodiment of Rocket's trauma. The movie also gave each Guardian a proper sense of closure. Rocket, finally stepping into his role as the new leader, completed his arc from reluctant outcast to central figure. Peter Quill chose Earth and family, proving that sometimes walking away from adventure is the braver choice. Gamora, instead of rekindling her romance, found belonging with the Ravagers, showing that not all endings are about romance. And Drax's journey was perhaps the most touching. Once driven by revenge, he embraced his true purpose as a father figure to rescue children. Even Nebula, who began her MCU story as an antagonist, finally found peace in her leadership role. Gunn made sure no one was left behind, and of course, it wouldn't be a Guardians film without incredible acting. The hallway fight scene is already legendary, with seamless choreography, perfectly timed teamwork, and a cinematic rhythm that reminded fans why these movies feel different from other MCU entries. It wasn't just spectacle, it was a visual representation of how this oddball family fights best when they're together. The soundtrack once again elevated the story, hitting emotional beats at just the right moment. Songs weren't just background noise, they were woven into the soul of the film, reminding audiences of the joy, heartbreak, and resilience that define the Guardians. And fans walked out knowing this was more than just another Marvel installment. As one viewer put it, it had me crying, laughing, and cheering. The full Marvel experience. That's why Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is locked into S tier. Deadpool and Wolverine.
I am soaking wet right now.
Boys are so silly.
Alright, let's get real. If there was ever a Marvel Phase 5 flick that screamed, hey, let's just go nuts and see if it works, it's Deadpool and Wolverine. Seriously, Ryan Reynolds is finally dragging Deadpool into the MCU, and Hugh Jackman putting the claws back on after Logan's emotional mic drop. Wild, fans have been losing their minds over this team up for years, begging for it like kids in a candy store. Phase 5 finally gave in, and dang, did it deliver. And what made this thing pop wasn't just the look, we did it crossover energy. It was the way Reynolds went full Deadpool, snark dialed up to 11, meta jokes flying everywhere, and Jackman just slipped right back into Wolverine's grumpiness like he never left. The movie roasted everything. Disney buying Fox, Marvel's copy-paste plotlines, superhero burnout. Nothing was safe, honestly. Half the time, it felt like the movie was trolling its own existence, which, let's be real, Marvel movies rarely do. But plot twist, it wasn't just 2 hours of meme fodder. There was actual heart in there. Deadpool's whole thing about wanting to belong kinda hit home, not gonna lie. Dude's always the punchline, but here he's fighting to matter in the MCU's big picture. And Wolverine gets some proper closure, which is kind of amazing after Logan's gut punch ending. Their messed up bromance, it's way more than just snappy comebacks and bloody fistfights. It's therapy, but with more decapitations. And speaking of violence, holy crap, this wasn't your standard family-friendly Marvel brawl. Nope, Wolverine's claws finally got to do what they're supposed to do, and Deadpool's kills, let's just say people were cringing and cackling in equal measure. The fights had some real weight, you could almost feel the bones crunching. Way more memorable than your average CGI smash fest, and oh man, the cameos, people have been speculating about those longer than I've had socks. We got winks to the old X-Men movies, digs at Marvel's more embarrassing flops, and random mutants popping up just long enough to make fans squeal. It could have been pure fan service, but they actually used it to bridge the Fox and MCU universes, which was pretty slick. But look, the real magic was just watching Reynolds and Jackman do their thing together, the banter, the grudging respect, that buddy cop but with claws vibe. You could tell they were having a blast, and it made the whole movie snap. Was it perfect? Hey, not really. The second act dragged a bit, like they ran out of Red Bull before the next fight scene, but whatever, that's a small gripe. Deadpool and Wolverine felt like the X-Men version of No Way Home. Fan service, nostalgia, and a legit setup for what's next. MCU, take a bow. This movie gotta have to go to A tier. Ranking summary. So where does Phase 5 stand so far? Here's the tier list breakdown. The S tier, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. A flawless send-off that balanced humor, heart, and action with emotional depth. A tier, Deadpool and Wolverine. Violent, hilarious, emotional, and exactly what fans wanted. A bold step for mutants in the MCU. C tier, The Marvels. Fun team-ups and decent moments, but dragged down by a weak villain and low stakes. D tier, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. An overstuffed mess that wasted Kang's potential and struggled to find its footing. Looking at Phase 5 as a whole, Marvel has had 2 triumphs and 2 disappointments. The highs prove Marvel still has its magic, but the lows show cracks in the formula.
Quite a while. But no matter what happens next, the galaxy still needs its guardians.
Phase 5 hasn't been smooth, but Guardians and Deadpool remind us why Marvel captured fans' hearts in the first place. With Kang's uncertain future and new heroes emerging, the MCU stands at a turning point. The question now, will it reclaim its golden age or stumble further into mediocrity?